On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight. Thorough black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair. From Brother Tad to Sister Kate, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcia brings the heat, Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Thursday nights, the world will see Black Power Media on the spree. Facebook, YouTube, all aligned, breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Ancestral line.
Stay strong on the bridge tonight. We got dreams and we got fight. Voices loud in the city's light. Change is coming into sight. History told by scars and pain. Echoes deep in every name. Legal truths we must reclaim. Through the storm and through the rain. Thorough black talk review. With Brother Tad, Sister K, Sister Marcia, Brother Blacksmith. Cut the check or no vote, yeah. Justice calls from open skies. Tis the fall, ain't no disguise. Marching forward, no surprise. Strength in hearts you can't downsize. Every voice a sweet refrain. In this fight we share the strain. Through the joy and through the pain, bound together like a chain. Thorough black talk review. With Brother Tad, Sister K, Sister Marcia, Brother Blacksmith. Cut the check or no vote, yeah.
Good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with Sister Keisha, Brother Tad, Sister Marcia, and Brother Blacksmith will be joining us very, very shortly, family. So, while we get the team ready, they're getting ready behind the scenes, give them a minute, and they're going to be ready to rock and roll. We got a lot to discuss. So the team, Mayor Adams going on tangents, Black people still playing games, Hakeem Jeffries begging for money. It's crazy. It's crazy. We're going to get into it all. Want to give some shout outs real quick. Sister Donna, Brother Kerwin, Alabama. What's good, family? How are you? Birmingham, let's get it. Sister Aruba. Yes, indeed. It's about to get fire on the bridge tonight, sis. Doggy Down Mars in the building. Give them love. Give them love. Sister Joyce. Brother Monty, Suffolk County in the building. What's good, family? I gotta get Brother Monty on here because we're gonna discuss some things, Next week, tonight, we got a guest, our brother Akil of All That Math, or All This Math, will be on with us. You know, we had him on here before, and he's doing some new things. So we're going to have him on here. But I gotta have Brother Monty on here and Sister Joyce on here. Because me and Tad, you know, we've been talking behind the scenes, and it's time to, you know, really start outing some of these fake ones. More than what y'all see, because it's problematic. And as we move forward with the Freedom Black Vote movement, we definitely got to push them out the way. Speaking of that, I will be at BK William Mackey History Club this Wednesday, family, with Sister Pat of the Freedom Party. We will be there together as we announce our plans going forward with the Free the Black movement, Free the Black Vote movement. Sorry about that. But please follow Thorough Black Talk Facebook page, because we will post the Zoom link for those of you who cannot attend in person. That's 103 Quincy Street in Brooklyn, 103 Quincy Street in Brooklyn, 7 p.m. Wednesday. I believe that's the 5th. The 5th. I will be there with Sister Pat, and we ready to get things rocking and rolling as we move into warmer months, warmer climates. We have to be on the ground getting things done. So, you know, we need a lot of help. And we're going to come to you all, you know, for help in helping us push this movement forward. And believe it or not, family, most of the work you can do right from your own home. I'm not going to have you out there wasting no shoe leather with no nonsense. All right? So stay tuned for Wednesday. We give instruction and direction on how we're going to move forward. And then Tuesday, Sister Brooke and I will be traveling all the way up to Rochester, New York for the next reparations committee meeting. We have to stay on the ground with that. Yes, Sister Farnessa, we definitely, you know, the reparations team, we don't play over here. We on their back. So we going up there. I think that's like a 5.5-hour drive. Y'all pray for me. But anyway, take care of that. And then we'll be back here on the bridge on Thursday. So we got a lot happening. Let me get my brother Tad, the OG Wisdom Podcast, on the bridge. What's good, brother Tad? How are you?
Life is good, sis. Life is good. How you feeling, sis?
I'm good. I'm a little tired, but I'm good. Like I was saying in the opening, you know, we got a lot of things coming down the pipe. So I had to make a lot of phone calls and talking to people, and, you know, so we can kick this thing off the way we need to in this election cycle. So I'm looking forward to that. Brother Black, are you ready? He is. Welcome to Bronx on the Brooklyn Bridge, Brother Anunnaki in the building. Yes, good.
Well,
Peace and love to the fam, y'all. Peace and love. Peace and love. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Yeah.
Turn your mic Can you turn your mic down?
Okay, give me a second.
Yes.
Yeah. So that I don't have,
Is that a little better?
Yeah, it's a little better. Yeah, it was
okay. Yeah, peace, y'all. Just coming in. Sister Farnessa says, Brother Tad and Brother Anunnaki. Hey, Brother Tad, with that said, you gotta give me the sign. Come on now. Where you at? All right, there you go. You late. Sister Keisha, how you doing today?
I'm good, Brother Black. Like I said, I'm a little tired. I've been doing a lot of reading, making a lot of phone calls, you know, as we continue to push the Free the Black Vote movement. So it's a lot of things that are happening. So just busy. But I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm gonna take one day. Sunday after the OG Wisdom Podcast, don't call me, because I'm gonna be asleep. It's gonna be dreamland. I'm over there, it's gonna be dreamland. So your calls will be returned on Monday.
all right. And as she prepares for Wednesday, you know, because as we kick off the Free the Black People movement, that's what we call it, Sister Keisha? Free the Black
Vote movement.
That's right. We're going to get politicized, but first we have to open these institutions. So don't forget to hit $FDMG. Cash App no longer works, but we do take EBT. And if you don't got that, meet me at the check cashing place. We will work out something with money orders.
Or just time that 5K you're supposed to get next week.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
that goes
He
to
said
people who pay
next week.
tax.
Brother Black will
I
never
think you.
for that check
I
next
think
week.
you. I think you have better luck calling it the Sukiyaki Fund.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
Welcome back.
I tell you, my brothers, they ready to rock already, Phil. You see, I'm telling you. But shout out to Memphis, Tennessee. I gotta give shout out because people be sending me messages. Yo, we in. So I'll go by what I see. Sorry.
No,
And
but
I've been
definitely
accused
shout out
of
to
favoritism
everybody.
too, Brother Tad. We've been accused of favoritism. So I
Really?
can shout out people. Yeah.
Well, there are some people I favorite, but who are we discriminating against? Favoritism of who?
Memphis on deck. Shout out to Memphis. We gotta show love to Dallas. Dallas in the building.
Well,
What's
definitely
good?
shout out to Dallas, Fort Worth area. Yeah.
Houston in the building. Always on the check-in, they said. So shout out to y'all. There you go.
No,
Got off the way.
now,
Dallas.
we love our Texas. Look, see, that was Anunnaki.
See?
He gonna put that in the chat. He just wanted, brother. We about to mute. We about to mute his mic.
We about to mute him.
It is muted.
Look at it, a Bay Area. Nice.
Yeah, shout out to the Yay. Brother Rich Nice over in the Yay.
Yeah, let us know where you're from. You let us know where you're from. We'll definitely shout you out. Like I said, we got listeners in Montana. Always, this Montana, Arkansas, Wisconsin, Alabama. Who I
Well,
miss?
Sister Keisha, they can't say we play favoritism
DC.
because one of our hosts are from the Bronx. Now, we let the Bronx in. We got love for everybody because the Bronx is a different animal.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
So when
saying?
we gonna get somebody from Staten Island and Harlem so we can represent the five?
They incognito right now.
Incognito, as the illustrious Mayor Adams would call his constituents.
Go ahead, Tad. Now, since you went there, let the people know what your mayor went to a black church, or was he a black church, or was he in? I don't know where he was, but it sounded like a black church. I was more upset, Brother Tad, with the people who was hooping and hollering in the back.
Yeah,
like you said, the black conscious church. Go ahead, Tad.
the thing with our folks is this victimhood mentality that we have, that we allow people to speak to us in a particular way as if they're disciplining and chastising us, as if we're not adults and we have a right to our opinion or can make a mind of our own. Now, I'm not disagreeing with Eric Adams. You meet with who you want to meet with. But I think as a black mayor, particularly what's going on all over the country, all of these mayors getting jammed up because it's your behavior. And your attempt to try to connect with the people, you buying into the negative stereotype that we're all hood and ghetto. So you take these professional platforms and offices and you act a damn fool just like common folks. Now we have to start setting the standard. All right. Sister Keisha and myself, our brother Irritated Genie and King Simon, some years ago, did a presentation. In fact, a couple of them, codes of conduct. Because, and we did that because of what we're witnessing right now. We saw that coming down the pipeline. Now, I'm going to keep it 1,000. I ain't always writing exact. Sometimes, my foundation will show its ugly head and I'll curse an MF out. I'm working on that. We all a work in progress. However, those who reach the upper echelon of society and holding these highly regarded political office should conduct themselves in a particular way that garners respect universally and across the board. There's a way to be stern and still get your point across without being disrespectful and act like you're really talking to a bunch of children. Now, I'm not knocking you for liking your hookah and your hot wings and your Dominican broads in the VIP section. Everybody got their vice, Mayor Adams. I like me a big booty occasionally, time to time too. However, when you're a public official and you're in the spotlight, there is a way you should conduct yourself.
Right.
I'm not condemning you. This is word of advice from somebody that could or may not vote for you in this upcoming election.
Facts.
And those of us with a level of influence, you should be nice to us and take heed to the things that we say. Because whether you want to believe it or not, our influence goes across the globe. Case in point, when we were in the straight black pride movement, everybody thought we was bugging when we was talking about child abductions and all of these Hollywood weirdos and all of the, everybody's like, yo, y'all crazy, y'all bugged out. We like, yo, these rainbow skittle folks is trying to take over everything. Y'all thought we was crazy. Let's fast forward almost a decade later. Now that's everybody's platform, even to the point that the president of the United States said we banning all of this foolishness now. But when we call it foolishness, y'all didn't think so. However, we know we're on the right side of history and we're staying our course. Even with the whole conversation about FBA, foundational Black Americans or freedmen or whatever you want to call us, the rest of the people are not like us. And I think a lot of people are starting to understand that more and more, that no longer will we allow other groups and communities be leeches and bloodsuckers. Those go for the foreigners and those who are from the soil that in the political office. You're gonna have to listen to us. Stop playing with us, because before you know it, we will have a resurgence of a drop squad too, and start G checking some of y'all on the spot. You know how we FBAs do. We don't mind pulling up, but we just got early in the show. You know, this is a little warm up. I want to thank everybody
Yes.
for pulling up,
You
coming
see
out.
what you started, Black?
My brother, Magnetic Tyson. Because you know why? I got to put my guards up for these Bronx people.
Uh-oh.
The Bronx is like old
But
Brooklyn of the 80s.
but you know what? Check this out though. And Tad, that was a great point. I'm gonna ignore that last comment because you was going 100 before you went there. But real talk, what I'm saying is to what you say. I believe. Well, this is the last one, but since COVID and everybody knew how crappy that was, and you still got Schumer on here, take the shot, don't hurt no more, and all that he said a few weeks ago. To me, the last foundation where I gotta put, like you said, G checking, not cursing people out or threatening them or nothing like that, but just G checking people. Oh, I don't think Trump gonna give us this 5,000. Y'all said the same thing when he gave us the 1,200. Oh, that was definitely no, was it? It was the first one. Cut it out, man. Y'all still going with this same narrative, man. He already set a precedent by doing most of the things he's doing now. Most of the things he's doing now, he said he was going to do in his first administration, but he couldn't get the right people to do it because he was new at being the president at that time. Now he already went through it. He took a break, he came back, and now it's all happening. And so now people can't say those things no more like they was before, because not only is he showing it now, he's proving it.
Right. Black, you know what? And this is making me want to revisit the book by George Orwell, 1984. Our folks are bugging out, going against what's in their best interest. I mean, like we talked about last week, people literally arguing to keep the $9 congestion pricing. Here a man is saying, all right, my New Yorkers, we not going to do this. You're not going to rob my folks with this little $9. And from not Trump, but what someone else stated is that by law, they can't charge a toll on federally maintained roads because it's already paid for with our taxes. When you pay federal taxes, this is what it's going to. So how are you paying for the road to be fixed and then paying to use the road? But when I talk about George Orwell in 1984, it's all about the mind control, the media being used as propaganda, because people are saying they don't want the $5,000. He can't give us $5,000. Like, I don't even want the $5,000. What I'm going to do with $5,000? Well, give me yours. Give me yours, and I'll show you exactly what to do with it. But again, this is where we are right now, where people are against their best interest based on what the propaganda machine is giving people. I think it was 1977 that it was deemed that the news didn't have to be fair and biased anymore, as to which we see right now.
Yep.
I believe it was a ruling in 1977. So here it is in the inception of press. We're told that it has to be fair and unbiased, but look at how they report. the news. Look at the inflection in their voice. Look at the words that they use. You know, even with the quote unquote OJ Simpson trial, you know, it's how things are packaged and sensationalized and the conversations that's had around them. So we're taught to hate Trump. And I mean, I hate them all, to be honest with you. However, we have to remember they work for us. Those are public servants. But if you think you're at their mercy, you're sadly mistaken. The power is in your hands, but you keep falling for the propaganda that's constantly fed to you and the distractions that keep you off your square to make you really surrender your power. And I think I talked about this before. You know, we have the power. The power is in the people. We decide who's going to be a leader or not. And that's in every group and every organization. A pastor is nothing without his clergy. The clergy have to decide whether you can be the pastor of the church or not. That's just a fact. Same way as we vote the mayor and vote the governor, and the people have spoken, so Trump is the president. Respect the man's handle. However, we had a whole bunch of people that was in office that wasn't giving us anything. And if anything, they were taking more. So folks is mad at Department of Government Efficiency, also known as Doge, for finding all the money that was stolen from the people, us. Every time we work, we do overtime, and we see it's like we did nothing because that overtime go to taxes. So here they're saying, yo, we found all this money that they was mismanaging. Let's give it back to the citizens of the country. And y'all have a problem. They said, let's get rid of the people that are freeloading. Y'all got a problem with that. I like nice hotels. I want to stay on Billionaires Row. I don't even know what the address of Billionaires Row is. I think it's Park Avenue. But these folks are literally, one of my coworkers, right? She worked in one of the hotels on Billionaires Row. She took pictures and videos from the balcony. Like, look, this is nice. This is where I was working. But these people get to live there. And here it is. We're struggling to make ends meet. We're struggling to buy eggs. And we're supposed to be compassionate for other folks who just come here and get money hand over fist and don't have to do nothing. Are you serious? But again, this is how foolish our people are, because we regurgitating rhetoric. And that goes for within the Black community too. As Sister Keisha opened up, we were talking about the frauds in the community. And we're going to put something together, because we talk about it off the scenes. But we're going to go down the timeline. We are going to go down the timeline. Some of them may break some of y'all heart, but yo, it is what it is. We can't get to the truth if we're not going to be honest. And a lot of people have broken our hearts.
Yep.
But again, we pick up the pieces and we move forward if we're going to be effective, because this 4 years could be pivotal for us. It can make us or break us, because the ops may be, you know what I'm saying, they may be in a tight huddle behind the scenes saying, look, after Trump term is up and he can't run again, we got to come back with a vengeance. We got to tax these people, you know, just rob us. Because I'm tired of working. I don't know about y'all. And then they was trying to increase the retirement age to 70 something.
Mm-hmm.
So most people live like 80, 85. So you got a good 5-10 years before you die.
No, don't go there. No, that's not true. The average lifespan in the United States is 70. For a black man, it's 59.
Oh.
Yeah, for
thank you, brother.
Yeah, I check that all the time. One time, my man, right, he called me. He probably like 65, 66 now. This is about 3-4 years ago. So at the time, he was about 61, 62. And he called me complaining because he couldn't get his money from his retirement. I said, yo, you already lived past 59. You already made it. You're going to get it. And you got it maybe about 2-3 months later after that. So around that time is when I knew that. I didn't check it because it could have changed since COVID, because you know, on the low, more people are dying on, you know, every month than before the 2020. Let's say 2020. So we don't give it a time period. We give it a date.
Yeah. So
1,000 people a day died in 2019. Since 2020, 2021 is probably like 1,600 a month now. Sure. And a lot of them from myocarditis and them kind of diseases that were virtually unheard of before the pandemic took place. Wow. So, yeah.
Rest in peace to my mama and everybody who lost somebody to this
That's right.
foolishness, this pandemic. Those who
I'm
have,
wondering if Roberta Flack took them shots because she still looked healthy.
yeah, right. Rest in
Yeah,
peace.
yeah.
And
Rest
that's
in
what
peace
I'm
to
saying.
her.
They want us to work. This is modern day slavery. Superficially, it has changed. Fundamentally, it has stayed the same, as stated by Dr. Amos Wilson. Superficially, what do we mean by superficial? Yeah, on the outside, you look like you free to an extent, but fundamentally, it's still to extract a particular amount of labor from you, your
Yep.
life force, your energy. This
That's
is
right.
why I try not to be sad all the time. Try not to be mad because that takes away time from your life, and that's what they want. They want to get as much out of you as humanly possible till you drop dead. So we have the power, though. We can claim our self-determination, but we have to have the right information. We have to have the right mindset and the determination to be free, not just
Facts.
physically, because freedom starts in the mind. Start thinking for yourself. If it don't make sense, question it. Don't just take face value for what people say. There's a
And I
book by
question everything. I don't trust no damn body.
yeah, there's a book by this dude named
Question
James
everything.
James Sutton, I believe it is. I got it on my shelf. But it's called Mind Control in the United States. And it talks about how people minds are controlled, how they use radio programming and television to program you, and now social media. And you see, even then, they had these people say anybody that challenged the mainstream narrative, it was called fake news. They said this is not true. They put systems in place to minimize the truth or an alternative view or opinion. I remember Dr. Oz said he wanted to debate Dr. Fauci over COVID. Dr. Fauci didn't want to do it. Rand Paul told Dr. Fauci, he said, I am a medical doctor. How many people have you ever worked on that had COVID? Dr. Fauci couldn't answer that. Everybody that challenged Dr. Fauci's voice was silenced, regardless of
Everybody.
how prestigious they were.
Was
However,
that about the time? Like, real quick question, Tad. Was that about the time?
Hold on, brother. Back. Let me get Sister Marcia
Okay.
up Brooklyn Bridge, and then you can go right into your spill, brother. Sister Marcia, Africans on the rise. Let's go.
Thanks, everyone. Happy Black Tax Thursday. Let's get into it. Apologies for the delay. Was just doing some stuff, but I'm here and I'm glad to see everyone.
we happy to see you too, sis.
Yay.
Go ahead,
Uh,
brother Black. What you say?
yeah, brother Tad. The question I was going to ask you was: Is you remember? Are you talking about the son, not the father, right? Rand Paul, the doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, you was that about?
He's in Congress right now.
Yeah, okay. Was that about the same time? You remember he had a dispute with his neighbor. He got beat, almost beat to death. The dude was like a Marine veteran, and supposedly he was mowing his lawn or something. And then the guy came out and said he was making too much noise. He almost beat him to death. You remember that?
I remember the story. I don't remember the specifics.
Yeah, okay. I think it was around the same time because people were saying that it was a setup to have him killed or whatever. Because the dude was an old Marine veteran, but he was like, like one of them killer type Marines. He wasn't, no regular Marine that just was in the service. And
Potatoes.
say again, brother.
He wasn't just peeling potatoes.
Yeah. He was like special service or one of them units that we going to kill. So piggyback on that real quick. I don't know if y'all seen the post I sent y'all maybe a half hour, 45 minutes ago, saying that they actually have Marine troops on the border now because the cartel is fitting to go in because they reduced the aliens to the illegals coming in to practically nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they got Marines on the border now, military, not play Marines or security or even feds, military Marines. So this could get contentious in a minute. Them cartels ain't getting that money. They getting billions off of them, off of sneaking people in here.
And
I'm done, Sister Keisha.
no, and just to your point, because we can't forget Operation Fast and Furious, where the government was supplying them with weapons, and they only put a stop to it when one of those weapons was used to knock off a U.S. agent, and they traced it back to this government. So again, let's just keep an open mind, stop accepting everything that we're fed, and tune in to Thorough Black Talk, where these conversations are constantly had and very relevant. Sister Marcia.
1 second, Tad. I'm just gonna let Sister Marcia have it after that. For those of y'all who don't know nothing about that operation, that was the reason why Obama's Attorney General, or I don't remember which position here, Eric Holder, got fired for that. He took the hit for that. Go ahead, Sister Marcia. Peace.
I'm gonna be mute on this topic because I came in late and I wasn't actually listening. So this side, I'm mute. Thank you so much.
Nah, say your spiel. Say what you gotta say.
Talk about the weather. Wasn't it nice today?
You know, she's gonna be talking about him right now. Because I know she wanna go in. So I know she gonna be talking about him. So New York City Mayor Eric Adams, you know, of course, he's going through some legal issues. And now, you know, he's trying to reinvigorate himself to run again for the mayor of the city of New York. Now, one thing he does say that is correct. This is the most important city in the world. And I'm going to tell you why. Because of the financial institution that permeates money throughout the world. New York City's budget, New York City, not New York State, New York City's budget is more than most countries combined. So that part, you know, is correct.
Keisha,
however, go ahead.
let me ask you on that topic. Is it still the fourth largest budget, only to be beat out by California, the federal budget, and New York State?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But Dallas is on its tail. Okay. Because we won't see the numbers until the end of the year, the beginning of next year, is because there has been a lot of migration going on. People are leaving the liberal cities in droves. And so now places like Tennessee, Dallas, the Dakotas, you know, Wisconsin, all of these places are growing because people are tired of the foolishness in these liberal cities. And also, which is problematic for the mayor or any mayor that takes office here, is how do you replace the trillions of dollars that have left the city? So that is a huge feat within itself. So it's very interesting how this plays out, because now former Governor Cuomo is throwing his hat in the ring. I don't care what people say, but that's what he's gonna do. Throw his hat in the ring. And again, when you look at, you know, the politics of Andrew Cuomo compared to the politics of Eric Adams, they pretty much are parallel. They are two persons who will do anything to anybody so that they can stay in the spotlight. These are career politicians. This is what they do. They are career hustlers. And that's just a fact. So, but, you know, recently Eric Adams made some comments and, you know, it's going viral all over social media. And, you know, people are coming heavy against him. Now, those of us who are of a particular age know exactly what he's talking about. The bad part that this video portrays is the constant chastisement of Black American voters. This has got to stop. And he hasn't learned the lesson of Don Lyman or Joy Reid or Roland Martin or Bakari Sellers or any of these other folks. He hasn't learned the lesson yet, but he will. And social media is reaming him, especially those of us who are foundations to this country. They are giving him the business heavy, and as they should. Someone mentioned in the comments, I think it was Brother Rich Nice, who said media literacy is key. Media literacy is key. The changing of the guard in how you do business is key. The changing of the guard. Understanding the changing of the guard in politics. It was a social media movement that destroyed Kamala Harris. It was a social media movement that is destroying the Democratic Party. You don't have to leave your goddamn house. The war has shifted, and we don't understand that. Some people are stuck, Brother Tad, in a way in how things used to look, how we used to. Nobody in warfare operates on the same plane using the same tactic every time. War changes. We are in a technological, and cultural war right now. And so you have to operate within those paradigms in order to be successful. And he, being the career politician and old head that he is, missed that boat. So I'm gonna play this clip and then we'll come right back to get y'all comments. Here we go.
This is a biblical moment. When Jesus was on the cross, he said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. All these Negroes were asking me to step down. God, forgive them. Are you stupid? So this is a biblical moment.
Now, it ain't easy calling y'all Negroes, we call y'all stupid too. But this is the tactic that the Democrat Party continues to use, and every politician under that party uses the same tactic. Chastise Black American voters. Why? Because you hold the balance of power. I keep trying to tell y'all that. So they gotta come in. He gotta come in and let the Democrat Party know, or the Republican Party know that, yeah, I can get these folks in line. I can get them in line, sir. Don't you worry about that. Even though both parties got him by the kahunas and he won't do nothing. I don't see him chastising them that way. You waited until Biden left to run your mouth on Tucker Carlson. You a coward, son. And that, let me step up. But go ahead, Sister Marcia. Go ahead.
No, like you said, he's a coward and yelling at his people, you Negroes.
His
Right. These are your people, and this is how you feel to speak to them, and then you want them to vote for you. But to the legacy of the Democratic Party, that's what has gotten our elders to go out and vote. Oh no, Big Brother came and yelled at me, pow, 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 I gotta go in and vote Democratic. That system that we have heard through the time of us growing up until today doesn't work anymore. It's antiquated. We cannot vote down the line and vote for our imprisonment. Like I heard Brother Tad say earlier, and Kanye, we are still slaves. Whether we want to believe it or not, you go to these colleges and you're a slave to the debt. You're like, oh, Black women are the most educated. They don't talk about they're the most in debt too. They don't say that part. They don't say that they make these, we women go out and get these education and are in debt for $250,000 to get a master's degree, to get a PhD, to get all of these things. And then you walking around, yeah, I got a PhD. Yeah, I got this. Yeah, I got that. Those things don't matter when you are literally constantly in debt. You have, your mortgage, your car, and your tuition, and you're 95 still paying off a tuition, still paying off a house, still paying off all of these things. It's unfair. And for us to not see the shackles around capitalism is a false state. It's false altogether. And at that, I have never been a fan of Eric Adam. I have never been a fan of Eric Adam and his crews, because they all don't do right by Black people. And when you tell them that you're not doing right by Black people, oh, you just got to wait. You just got to wait and see. You just got to wait and see. Promised land is coming. And I'm tired of waiting and seeing. We've been waiting to see too long. And I don't know when we're going to accept the fact that we should not be waiting to see something happen for us. We should be making things happen for our benefit. We should not be in this debt. And as you know, as we've said last week, all this so-called found money should be paying off all our debts. Biden had said, I'm taking off all the debts. All college debts are gone. I don't see it gone. I don't see mine is gone. I still got college debt.
A court ruled against it after he became president.
Say that again, brother.
A court ruled against it when he was running that on his campaign. And then he said he was going to do it after he became the president. And then the court ruled against it.
So if we are constituents bodies, right, and we are holding people accountable, we are supposed to go back and say, no, I don't care what the court says. You're supposed to make moves. You're supposed to make moves for my benefit.
He could have did an executive order, just like Trump is doing right now with everything he's doing.
You know what he could have done. We all know what he could have done. He didn't do it for us, and we're still like, yeah, Democrats not for us.
It's changing, and I feel sorry for a lot of folks who are wrapped up in the matrix because you are getting steamrolled. You don't see what happened to Kamala Harris. Do you not think people are not playing anymore? But they want to push back. So, as an alternative, some folks want Jemima Williams to be your mayor. Let me tell you something. I would rather throw hot bricks on myself than to have this man as mayor. He's all outside the box to please any and everybody, especially them letter folks. But let's hear his commentary. And you tell me, can you hear the BS? Come on.
Peace and blessing, love and light to you all. Listen, I hope you pay attention to what's going on, especially those folks that said we were exaggerating and making things up, as they have now removed TPS from our Haitian brothers and sisters and neighbors, just like they did with our Venezuelans. What they are doing now is changing the status of people who are actually here legally.
Pause. Do y'all know of any legal folks who are now getting deported? I don't know because I haven't heard any. What I did hear was people with false documents getting the boot up out of here. You know, like the ex-husband of Portia Williams from Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Right.
Simon Gabadia, or whatever his name is, right, who had so many scams going on. And it's sad because she is the granddaughter of the legendary Hosea Williams.
How about Ilhan Omar?
Hold on, Brother Black. She definitely is not living up to the legacy. But go ahead, Black. Sorry.
I was asking about Ilhan Omar. You know about her?
She could go too with having sex with your brother and producing children. So you can on.
But wait, how about Portia being on that show that all these Black women love watching, right? The Real House of Anything, and then being at the Underground Railroad, right? This is, and nobody plays this clip. I don't know why it didn't go viral. And she was like, "But so where's the train?" Like you have legend in your blood, and you have
because an institution, a collegiate institution, graduated her summa cum laude. I'm done. You can't listen. let me get off my soapbox. Let me finish this, and we'll come right back.
To people being here illegally, expanding the pool of who can now be deported. As we said, this was never ever about people being here illegally. This was never ever about people who are violent criminals. This was always about immigration, particularly of Black and brown people. Sanctuary cities has never, ever, ever protected violent criminals. There was always ability to coordinate to deal with that, always. And so now they are changing the status of people to expand who can be deported. This has always been about erasure of communities, of people, of history. Even as we look at DEI programs being taken away, look at, we can't even celebrate Black History Month according to this president. And yes, even our trans young people, yes, even them, they are trying to criminalize folks for just being here, for just existing.
I think
He had to get that.
listen,
That damn more.
Obama, President Barack Obama, you ask any immigration lawyer, they dubbed him deporter in chief. Nobody, no other president deported more people than Barack Obama. He on that. He was very upfront with that. You up here. But that kind of commentary didn't come from Jumaane Williams at that particular time, because he's toting the party line. He knows he's a good boy. He does what he's told. Then he's gonna bring in all these other elements that we don't give two flying F's about, Jumaane. You better get on board. It's over for y'all. Do you understand that? Do you understand it's over?
But Sister Keisha,
You know, go ahead,
why would he tell a blatant lie that sanctuary cities do not protect violent criminals? When all sanctuary, in fact, we had to take a training at work, recognizing that we're sanctuary cities and we're not to do this, that, and the third. If we know somebody's here illegally, we are not to contact ICE. Though, as a civil servant, I am a mandated reporter of all things that are maybe illegal or things like that. And I ain't no snitch, I'm from the block. But my point is that if there's a policy in place that people who don't qualify for certain benefits and things like that, how do we make them qualify? Like you said, the people with false documents. He's lying because these people are extremely violent. I think I talked about this on the show last year when I was working with the migrants who were fighting, and I would call the cops. I would call the cops, and they would take them to the precinct and bring them right back. Though a person like me can't have an argument in the streets without getting arrested and, God forbid, getting, blickied down by these people. So, and again, these people are siphoning all the resources, illegal activities. The young boys in Chicago was going through it with the young migrants, getting into bangouts with them because these people are here illegally and they are violent. But when, again, the propaganda and the rhetoric is what he just spewed to us, trying to make it seem as if this is a figment of our imagination and these threats aren't real. So we're not going to talk about the family who was deleted on Staten Island by a migrant. We're not going to talk about the migrants who attacked NYPD in the shelters that we all saw that was on the news. And one, they bust the sister in the head, knocked the hat off. But you want to say these people aren't violent. Blatant lies, but you want us to take you serious. They got to get serious.
Crazy. And, to boot, you have Hakeem Jeffries begging people to send him $10 so he can stop the Republicans. Look at this face. One day I'm going to have to do an expose on the Democratic Party, Congress, and Senate in their illegal acquisition of trade. People like Nancy Pelosi, who uses the LEAP method. How the hell this woman amassed over $280 million? What do you call it? Investment fraud. If you an investor and you know what leaping is, none of us on this platform could afford it. But if you could afford it, look it up. That's your homework assignment. Investment in leaping. What is leaping? Okay? That's your homework. And this is what Nancy Pelosi has been doing. She's been killing stocks and shorting stocks. When NVIDIA went up, I think she had like 5,000 shares or something like that, and 10 did. Listen, a lot of people was getting a lot of kickbacks. So One day we're gonna have to do an expose. This is gonna be a part of our Out in the Mall. How about that? We'll make that a part Out in the Mall series. But Hakeem Jeffries, the #1 congressman in the Democratic Party right now, not just of popularity, but because of the committee seats that he holds, makes him the #1. So you don't know what that is? Go look it up. That's your homework assignment. You got to get politically educated.
Keisha,
He's from Jersey, right?
No, he's from Brooklyn. Go ahead.
Oh, wow.
I want to ask you, Sister Keisha, the name Jeffries, is there any relation to Dr. Leonard Jeffries?
Yes, sir. He is the nephew of Dr. Leonard Jeffries.
Interesting.
And he has turned his back against his family, against the idea of being who you are and understanding whose you are and promoting and advancing his people. He'd rather advance everything else but us.
Interesting. We're gonna make it a part of the Outlaw series. You know, all next month we're gonna have the Outlaw series, family. But let's listen to Hakeem Jeffries beg his constituents for money.
Hey, it's Hakeem. I'm asking you to chip in $10 before midnight. Yes, just $10. $10 to expose Republican plans to cut Social Security and Medicare. $10 to compete with their unelected, unaccountable, and out of control billionaire donors. $10 to flip the Republican House with a Democratic majority. If you and everyone else watching this can give before midnight, we can hold Republicans accountable and take back the House of Representatives.
Hold yourself accountable.
Don't he look like somebody sucked the life out of him? He just looks
He dyed his hair. He wants to look like them.
Oh, wait, I didn't know that part, Sister Marcia.
They probably bleeding them for all the adrenochrome.
Maybe they're swallowing all his blood.
Would you like to be swallowed?
Oh, no, but you know, this is the shenanigans. Meanwhile, your presidential candidate wasted over $1 billion, and you got nerve to pucker your lips, sir, to ask your constituents, as Brother Tad said earlier, can't even pay for eggs. Go kick rocks in your bare feet, because you sound stupid.
Hey, she gave us Meg Thee Stallion and Beyonce. Well, come on now, don't complain.
Oh, boy, where's Tad? You might gotta be muted, because this is crazy.
I did it for that, Sister Keisha. I'm sorry. I did it for that.
I'm gonna pray tonight extra hard for Black. I pray for my brother every week, but tonight I'm gonna do a little extra prayer. How about that?
Sis, I was looking for the video of one of the reporters who was at the DNC talking about the billionaire donors who were in the skybox and how he couldn't get up there. I think it was one of the Cuomos. Which Cuomo is a reporter?
Chris Cuomo.
Yes.
Chris Cuomo. I'm gonna find that.
Because one on CNN.
It's funny how they'll say the Republicans want to cut Medicaid and Social Security, but that's a general statement. Be more specific. You want to cut Social Security of those who have already passed away and somehow checks are still going out in their name. Say that part. Say the part of Medicaid that's going to be cut is the part that is gender affirming surgery, though people with real illnesses can't get the proper care. People with cancer and HIV and all types of other autoimmune diseases can't get Medicaid, but somehow Medicaid is afforded to folks who want to participate in self-mutilization and cosmetic surgery. Make that part make sense. Seriously. Because it's funny. And again, here's the propaganda. You throw a general statement out there, but you don't speak to the specifics of it. So you pretty much slant people's opinions and you're implanting the thought in their mind, because most people are now lazy and they don't read or research and they just take the word of other people.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to really start digging deep. sifting through this stuff. All right, you want to cut it, but why? Where's the excess spending going? Where's the
follow the truth? We
going?
don't
Right.
follow the truth. We don't follow the evidence. Okay, he's cutting $10. Why is he cutting $10? Just like anybody who's making a budget. Hey, we're not going to, eat out anymore because that's $200 of eating out that we don't need to spend. Let's hold on to that for a minute.
I love that point, right? Because now I'm in your house and I'm like, she don't want to feed us. She said we can't even have dinner no more.
Stop.
We're gonna stop eating out. Thank you, Mom.
Well, the way I look at that, y'all, is like this. Like, y'all, I'm sure, whether you read my articles or not, you scan through them, whatever. That's the difference between reading the article and going into the link so I can further explain what the hell I'm talking about, especially when it's something that, it's hard to believe because you ain't never heard it before, even if you kind of educated in that discipline. So that's why I go the extra mile to, especially when I think it's something people won't believe easily. I put in a link so you can say, okay, I ain't say it. This is where I got the information from. Now the rest is up to you whether you believe it or not. Because if it's something that we can't quantify with evidence or proof, now it's up to your believability. Like talking about space and all the things I talk about,
Got you, brother. Let me just go. Can you hear me? You hear me good? Okay, good. My brother Black, Sister Ruba said that mic is too loud. You're driving her crazy. All right, so list of taxes that the average citizen in this country has to pay, right? Property tax, sales tax, state income tax, marriage license tax, local school tax, vehicle registration tax, business permit taxes, estate taxes, waste management tax, cigarette tax, court fees, dog license tax, driver's license fees, garage tax. Speaking of, let me keep going. Social security tax, fishing license fees. You can go on and on and on. No matter what it is that you do, you getting taxed out the wazoo. So now you have a president who's saying, well, I want to go back to the ways of the 25th president, McKinley. McKinley was able to establish the country, keep the country in a surplus without taxing a single citizen. He also said that he wants to discontinue income tax. I don't know about y'all.
That works for me.
Look at your pay stubs. Look how much it's taking. Why should you get it back? If they have billions to give to Ukraine, Israel, and illegal migrants, we don't have to pay taxes. And some people say, this DEI stuff, is problematic. He can't take away everything. Let me tell you something. All of these presidents that came in since Clinton have put so many amendments on top of this goddamn thing. It has to be dismantled. We're number 6 on the goddamn list. White women, white men, immigrants, everybody go before us when it comes to LGBTQ, everybody's before us. And like I said, history will show your dumbass voted for it. And your descendants going to look back and say, how dumb were my ancestors? It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. We got to stop it. We have to become politically mature. Now, I know, we running close to time. Our guests will be in soon. And we ain't even get to our main topic. Like, why are Black Americans so goddamn unique? Why are we just it? I'm going to tell you my thoughts. You see, when you left, when nobody didn't fend for you, when you have to do for self, when you left with a population that are less than you have to thrive in that environment. We were held in bondage by folks who were less than us. These folks barely wash, maybe once a year, if that. Some of your greats, all my Catholic folks out there, a lot of y'all saints became saints because they bathed more than once. Read the history. Again, don't get involved in anything you don't know the complete history of. I'll tell you that right now. Because if you don't, you make yourself a fool. So again, we are in a unique position where we are put in a system that has to rely on our ability to thrive. When you put people in a conducive environment like that and pressure cook them, they have to be successful. And so the world will look at that and say, wow, nobody came to save them. They still didn't come to save our black ass over here. Nobody coming to save us. No. But everything that we've touched have turned to gold. Everything. You can't even turn the light on in your room without the genius that came from these shoes. You can't comb the knots and kinks out of your hair without the genius that came from these shoes. Now, I was in a little online debate and I had to get out of it because I'm like, girl, you going somewhere where I will find your IP address and whoop your tail. So we don't want that. Brother Tad will not be around to save you. So we were talking about music, and I said in the comments, nobody on the planet makes greater music than Black people globally, right? We just thought the best. It's just hands down. They know that. Everybody know that. So then some folks from the continent came in the chat and they started talking a little crazy, a little reckless. One person said nobody was greater than Fela Kuti. And I said, smoking crack? I don't know. Fentanyl is running heavy in this country, and I'm not sure if you want it, but I want you to sit and Google Fela Kuti's record sales compared to Michael Jackson. There is no comparison. Matter of fact, we'll go even less. I told the sister, go to Tina Turner and compare to Fela Kuti. Let's dwindle it even more. I just kept going down. And I'm like, girl, listen. So then she started talking about these other artists today. And I said, yes, they are very talented and just nobody could do it how we do it, no matter where you are. But then they started going around again. Here we go with the Jamaicans. Here we go with the mess, boy. And I'm like, let me back up out of this one because I'm going to embarrass you. So they kept adding me. So I said, all right, bring me your best. Compare Bob Marley to Michael Jackson. There is no comparison, son. Michael Jackson built his legacy without the help and push of European artists. Bob Marley did that. Go back to the Rolling Stones. Listen, go back and read the history. Go look at the history. Go look at who brought him to the fore. That home. It wasn't taken off until they did that. But again, something about the genius of Black American music that permeates the soul of people throughout the globe. Now, I can go to Timbuktu, I can go to Kemet, I can go to Ghana, I can go to Mauritius, I can go to Jamaica, I can go to Belize, I can go wherever. They heard of Michael Jackson. I can't do the same with Fela Kuti. You just can't. You just can't. So I challenge the person to go into some ethnic group chats and see what you come up with. And get back to me. That was 2 days ago. I ain't get no answer yet.
You won't.
All I'm saying is we are a unique group of people. Now, when it comes to how we interact with our families, very different to how other groups interact with their families. For example, when we have family reunions here, show me your family reunions over there. And if they are in comparison, a lot of families throughout the diaspora are broken. A lot of them are. They just are because some moved to different countries, some are still left in the homeland. And so the connections that we have are very different. We are not a migrating people as far as leaving the US, right? We are not known to be doing that. Yeah, we're doing it now. You got people who moving around, but this is not a norm for us, right? So we have to develop within ourselves. Unlike other groups, for example, if I say the Congo, right now there is turmoil going in the Congo. And if you don't know about it, you just deaf, dumb, and blind. However, the turmoil comes through tribalism. You have what, 250 different tribal groups in the Congo? I think. We don't have that problem here. It's just different. So the conditions are different. And that's just uniqueness in itself. When it comes to developing communities, we are in a class by ourselves. Even right now, you have people from here going throughout the diaspora, developing communities, whole communities. Former hip hop artists developing whole communities right here in the States. People like Slim Thug and others. So again, a very uniqueness that we have, not discarding anyone else, because like I said in the chat, we are a wonderful and great people throughout the world. Nobody does it like we do it. I don't give a where you come from, where you come from. But ours is a unique case because we don't have the tribalisms that other places have. Brother Tad, your thoughts on what is some of the greatness of us here in comparison with, Black people around the globe? Because you have traveled, so you would know. Well, we all world travelers.
I've been to the continent 4 times. I talk about my experience offhand, but I encourage everybody of African descent to please visit the continent at least one time in your life to have the experience, so you can have a proper frame of reference, and put it in its proper context when you have conversations with people who say we don't have no culture or we don't have no influence. Now, Sister Keisha, you laid it out on how we dominate entertainment. In sports, let's forget about it because I can't name you one African athlete, but everybody's familiar with Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. But we're going to talk about the educational and the scientific genius of Black Americans. We could talk about W.E.B. Du Bois. We can talk about Dr. Carter G. Woodson. We can talk about the traffic light, which is in the continent, created by Garrett Morgan. They have this thing for electricity. Not all countries and villages and areas have electricity or working lights, but we could thank Lewis Latimer for the proper development of the light bulb. There's so much we've done. If they get hurt, we could thank Charles Drew for blood transfer and really doing the science on blood plasma. There's so much that Black Americans here have done. But with that, we're literally a mythical people. Whether you want to call us the lost tribe of Israel or the lost tribe of Shabazz, because to me, there's nothing new under the sun. And it always been prophesized about a group of people that will go through what we've went through. And here we are. Insurmountable odds that we overcome. Still find the spirit to laugh, smile, and continue to create. It's a bittersweet double-edged sword because the downside of that is we're so forgiven. We're so forgiven regardless of what has been done to us. So we're the closest thing to God that exists on this planet, just by our level of humanity. Because when we have the opportunity to do people dirty, we still don't. We give them grace and mercy. And a lot of people know they don't deserve it. And in fact, this is white folks' fear that one day we will treat them like they've done us. And we will be within our right to do it if we decided to. But no, we enjoy life. We're gracious, we're humble, We're entertaining. We're intelligent. We got swag. We got that, what the French call it, the je ne sais quoi. We just got that thing about us. We just got that thing about us. And I wouldn't want to be nobody
Let
else.
Marcia say that.
But to our distant cousins in the diaspora and at the motherland, please don't ever try to minimize our efforts, because you know we're the leaders of this thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Asajifo Kwame Nkrumah, who founded the Democratic Republic of Ghana, said that he got his inspiration from what we were doing over here. He was friends with Dr. King. He was friends with Malcolm. He met the most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Mhm.
He got his degrees over here, but
Yep.
he was inspired by what we were doing here. Now, mind you, when we talk about the Mayafa, also known as the transatlantic slave trade, but we call it the Mayafa, put in its proper context, because we reclaiming the language too.
Mhm.
Now, when you deal with the transatlantic slave trade, you got to look that not too many stolen from the continent was brought here. Most of the people were taken to South America and parts of Europe. How can such a small group as those of us that were brought here, just because Sister Keisha, this for layman's terms, brought
Yep.
here. Some of us were here. Let's not minimize that either. We got documentation and proof. But how could such a small group make such a dynamic impact if they weren't those special group of people? And not to brag, not to boast, because we want to work with our brothers and sisters. But for too long, in our hospitality, we've been told that we're fools. Oh, the Americans so damn dumb. You got all this opportunity and you don't do nothing with it. But they don't know about all the communities that we built and that were destroyed, how the highways was run through it. Now, since they've been here long enough, they get a little taste of gentrification when you got Emily and Brad moving in your crib in Flatbush. You know what it is. You know how it is.
Pulling up on you, calling you the N-word and threatening to unalive you if you don't leave his neighborhood.
That's right. Or even when you get in these relationships with these people and you get deleted. Thinking that ice is colder and their sugar is sweeter. When we've been telling you for the longest, stay on this side of the track.
Mhm.
Because Black people here in America, we've been running this race since the war been declared on us. And we've been very successful. So successful, we've been helping our own ops. We've been helping the enemies in their wars. Revolutionary War, Civil War, Korean War, Vietnam, every war they had. We was on the front line kicking ass because it's that warrior spirit we possess. So as Sister Keisha laid out, not only in the entertainment field, but as political strategists, because let's not forget, Harriet Tubman just didn't free the slaves, enslaved people, because I hate calling our people slaves. We were
Right.
enslaved. We are not slaves. Not only
Right.
help free enslaved people, but she also worked as a Union spy as well as a nurse, as well as all the other things great that she has done to help build this country. So when we talk about foundational Black Americans, because some of our people they take issue with the word foundational. Well, we built this country. We was here before there was a United States, and it was our labor that helped these people get from up under the yoke of British rule and establish a government. It was Benjamin Banneker who designed Washington, D.C., the U.S. Capitol. So when we say foundational, we talking about we had a hand in building this thing too. Even though it was forced labor, it was our labor. And we're not going to minimize it was also our genius, because the meritorious Manumission Act of 1710, one of the clauses is that we created invention that white folks could get paid off of.
Facts.
We can get our freedom. So when you give credit to white people for no, it's Black folks. Whether it was Aunt Jemima pancakes, whether it was Jack Daniel Hennessy, whatever it was, the air conditioner, the radiator, the broom and dustpan,
Fire extinguisher, the ambulance, everything.
Black American folks. Now hold up, not the Jamaicans.
Most wars would have been lost without institution of particular Black men, starting from the Civil War,
Talk.
going back to the American Revolution. I mean, you know, we want to uncover a lot, but I see we got our guest in queue. I want to play this clip real quick, and then we'll bring our guest in. And we'll continue this conversation next week, family. You know we're going to do it. So let's play this conversation between Professor James Smalls and Sarnetta on 125th Street. And just keep it in the back of your mind for when we discuss this later on. Hold on.
You are always in Africa. You got the African Day Parade. You don't see the Africans. You got the festival that be going on in Brooklyn, the band festival, the African festivals. Where's the Africans at? When we doing our rallies and our marches, where's the Africans at on your side? Talk to us really about that, man.
See, let me tell you something. We think slavery in America was something. Slavery in Africa is still in force. You talking about deaf, blind, and dumb. Don't confuse you because somebody got on some printed cloth that's printed in Holland or India that you're looking at an African cultural expression. That's not an African cultural expression. That cloth was printed in a European country and then sold to Africans. And they've accepted that as their cloth. You understand what I'm saying? Just that piece. Now, they do speak the language, but they know less about their history than you and I do. So you've got a deaf, blind, dumb, backwards person speaking an African language, coming from the African country, came here to be a parasite on their own people with no respect for themselves as human beings. And then because they speak a language, try to make you play you off like they got something culturally that you don't have. The most culturally enforced African in the world is the African American. Most of the movements that have changed the world that allow all ethnic nations to profit has been our movement. And so we get peed on and played down because these people are so punked out and scared of the white man that they feel because they're scared of the white man, they got to be against us.
Are they our people, brother, or are we our own people now?
No, we got to understand two things. We have a race and then we have an ethnic place. We African Americans. Just like a guy from Africa, he can say he's African, but there's no country called African. He's either Nigerian, Ghanaian, Malian, or something. That's his ethnic nation. Racially, we are together, but economically, we may well be enemies. And we have to be clear on that, that our economic enemy is just that. And if you deal with your economic enemy like it's your friend, you're going to be the loser at the end of the day. Now, we raised the question of Pan-Africanism in this hemisphere. You know, we had the brothers from Trinidad, and then you had W.B. Du Bois, and we created this phenomena. But Africa has never created a Pan-African movement. You understand? Africa has never really supported a Pan-African movement. We had a couple of people in Nkrumah and Julius Nyerere and Mugabe, but most of Africa never gave a damn about a Pan-Africanism.
Heard that. I heard that.
You there, Sister Keisha?
We've been doing most of the heavy lifting, so now a lot of people is getting ticked off. But we have to continue these conversations because people are getting caught up in nonsense, in arguments, thinking that, as Professor Small says, we're not talking about everybody. We're not talking about everybody, but we are talking to the crew that has been causing problems, and we are going to outline facts. When it comes to Pan-Africanism, Black people on this continent have been carrying the heavy load and doing the heavy lifting. Brother Taz said that when Kwame Nkrumah came here, he studied and learned from Jim Crow and what we were doing and how we were fighting here. When Garvey came here, he came here seeking advice from Booker T. Washington. This is just facts. This is just facts. We were the movers. He said it himself, and I'm going to get next week, I will have it. It's in Garvey's book, The Greatest Speeches and Writings by Marcus Messiah Garvey. In it, he says, and I quote, that Jamaican is under the spell of Rip Van Winkle and should not be trusted, especially in leadership. That's what he said. But I'll have that for y'all next week. Let me get ready because our guest is in queue. We're going to remind me next week, co-host, that we start with that commentary by Professor James Small, so I don't forget. But our brother from All This Math is in the building. Brother Akil Parker is back on the Brooklyn Bridge, family. Let's give him the 1-2. Come on, yeah.
Peace, brother.
What's going on?
All right, all right. Welcome back. Welcome back.
It's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Philly in the building. Y'all see the beers.
Tell us about all this math.
Oh, all this math. Well, all this math is a movement. It's a movement to teach mathematics to the entire Black community. You know, since math is really it's like a low-key like tool of liberation. It's really like foundational to like just a lot of things, to engineering, to, and I have challenges with the acronym of STEM, because we've all heard of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But the problem with STEM is that it gives the impression that math is on par with science, technology, and engineering. And actually, math is a predecessor to that. It's a prerequisite, because we can't get into the science and the technology and engineering unless you have the strong math foundation. So that's why, like, you know, I have concerns with like a lot of people that are starting like STEM programs now, whether they be after school STEM programs, Saturday STEM programs, summertime STEM programs. And oftentimes, like, you know, they're exposing children to the application of STEM, application of the engineering, building bridges and robots and things of that nature, which are very important. I will never, like, you know, try to downplay the importance of that. However, a lot of these same children are not able to sit down and solve simple equations or multi-step equations, you know, or, you know, do arithmetic really well and in different and flexible ways. So I think that I'm hoping that we're not using STEM programs as a way to replace the need for just hardcore, solid mathematical, you know, proficiency and mathematical mastery, because I think that's what it is. Because there's also overemphasis on fun. Like, everybody always want to make things fun. Like, education is not always supposed to be fun. You know, sometimes you gotta just sit down, lock in, and just grind and just be frustrated, you know, be angry. You gotta have that, like, as educators, we call it productive struggle. Like, you gotta just go through that until you figure it out, until it starts to make sense. And it might not make sense at first, but that's just life. That's just how it's gotta be. And we, you know, I think some people use the STEM programming as a way of like a subterfuge, almost like as a way to, like, well, we're gonna like try to trick the kids into, you know, understanding this or understanding that. And it's like, nah, I don't think you should have to trick kids. I think you should, you know, really explain the importance in a way that they can understand. So, you know, all this math is really about focusing on making sure our people understand math, and also helping our people to see that, you know, we shouldn't be scared of math. We shouldn't be running away from it. We should be running towards it. Every chance we get, we should be running towards it. And even for the, you know, whether it's a young person or whether even adults, like parents, you know, mothers, fathers, grandparents, uncles, aunties, whoever. A lot of us didn't have positive experiences in school, and, you know, we got to get past that. You know, really got to get past that, if for no other reason than to be able to sit down with a young person in the community and help them with their math homework. Because our children are largely not learning mathematics in school. I would even say a lot of our children that are earning A's and B's in math classes are not really learning math, right? They're not conceptually gaining an understanding of math. They, you know, they know how to play school, not how to play the game. And it's a lot of apps out. A lot of kids are cheating, going to Photo Math and Chat GPT. They're getting answers, but a lot of them are not able to have an intelligent mathematical conversation with anybody. So that's a problem too, because when it comes time for the exam or the SAT or the ACT, they're stuck, you know, because you can't cheat no more, you know. So my emphasis is making sure people understand math, whether it's through the virtual tutoring that we offer or whether it's through the YouTube channel, which I definitely want everybody. I know y'all been promoting the YouTube channel, so I appreciate that. When the other times I was on the platform, but the YouTube channel has been growing. We're up to almost 7,000 subscribers now, you know, so it's been growing nicely. And, you know, I've, you know, been adding content on a consistent basis, more consistent as sometimes than others. But yeah, like, you know, so when you tap into the YouTube channel, you know, you get, you know, culturally relevant, you know, mathematics instruction. You're going to get some Black history at the same time. You know, I might have a Malcolm X hoodie on. So we're going to talk about Malcolm first for the first 90 seconds to a minute. And then we're going to solve some equations. So, you know, it's like a one-stop shop, you know. And also, like, representation is key. I'm not as much of an advocate of representation in spaces that are controlled by white folks. even though, you know, we got to do what we got to do sometimes. But our children need to see Black people doing math, you know. So, you know, even though I'm light skinned, you know what I'm saying, I'm still a brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but our children need to see that, because a lot of times, like, you know, we may not articulate it in the community, but a lot of us, we really believe that we don't do math. Like, we kind of, perception becomes reality, and we become products of what we see. So, you know, we see people selling dope, we see people rapping, we see people singing, you know, just being cool. We see people playing sports. So we think that's what Black people do. A lot of young people grow up like that. So if you never had a Black math teacher, you never saw like your parents like getting busy with some math homework, helping you with your math homework when you was growing up, it's easy to, you know, inherently develop that belief that we don't do math. And it's the furthest thing from the reality, but it's also part of a larger, you know, mission of, you know, really stealing mathematics from us, you know, because
Right.
you know, a lot of the ancient Greeks went into Kemet and like studied the math there, like Pythagoras, studied, you know, in Kemet, learned a lot of things and went back. But you know, they're masters at marketing. So it's easy for them to put a label on something and make it seem like they created it from the rip. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. So our children got to be able to see that, you know, we really do mathematics. And not only that, like a lot of us are doing math, but we don't think we're doing math. We're doing algebra all the time, but we don't think we're doing algebra all the time.
Streaming. This is mathematics.
Yeah.
This is mathematics. I want to ask you a question, because I hear from a lot of teachers, in particular Black teachers, who say that there is a problem with comprehension. Just the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Are you having that same issue as well? And if so, how are you dealing with that?
So like I do a lot of virtual tutoring. So I'm not in the formal like high school classroom anymore. I left the formal classroom, the high school classroom in 2018, but I've been teaching at Cheney University, you know, since 2019, and also teaching in some other programs. I actually just started teaching on the narrative platform over there with Karen Hunter and them recently. But when I'm in my tutoring sessions, I definitely see issues with comprehension. But I think the thing with math is that math is so cumulative, right? So, and a lot of it, like you might be in 9th grade taking algebra 1, but if you don't have a solid foundation in arithmetic, then it's going to seem like the algebra 1 is too hard. But if you never really memorized your multiplication facts, or you didn't memorize your division facts, or you don't know how to add fractions, you only really understand how to find a common denominator, you know, then you're not going to be able to solve the equations in algebra 1, right? But a lot of people will just think, oh, they're not good at algebra. Algebra's too hard. And it's like, nah, like the algebra is not really that hard. It's just concepts in algebra, you know, like, but we got to go back to the basics sometimes and just practice multiplication, practice addition, practice subtraction, you know, and then instill value in it. So a lot of times the children, when they go into the classrooms, they're not prepared, you know, and then, you know, they're not in a household where mathematical literacy is promoted. And that's, you know, that's not coincidental or accidental, I don't think, because, you know, again, math is all about problem solving. And, you know, I always think about Amos Wilson, him saying that, you know, the problems of the Black community are a multi-billion-dollar industry. So once we learn how to solve our problems, we actually, in turn, simultaneously, we are creating another problem for those that were previously benefiting from our problem, because we just eliminated the problem. We eliminated the cash cow. You know, our problems are very beneficial. And that's another thing too, like just in terms of mathematical thinking, like for people that say, well, why I got to learn this? When am I gonna use this stuff? It really affects your thinking and the way you approach the world and like your worldview, right? Because if you even understand that, like a lot of times we talk about problems in our community without taking into consideration who's benefiting from the problem on the other side of the equation, right? You got to do that, because that's why that way you'll never solve it. Because oftentimes we try to fix things, but we don't look at who's benefiting from it. And that's really where you got to go at. You got to look at who's benefiting from it. And also what that'll do too is when you start thinking about like, yo, who's really benefiting from this, you might realize that the people that's benefiting from it are the people that's like acting like they in the struggle with you, like trying to slide up next to you, like some corporation or something, or some government entity is like about to, you know, give you a check for $10,000, but then you realize they benefiting from it. They'll give you the 10,000 because that's something light, because they making 10 million off of the problem. So the 10,000 is nothing, and they'll show up for the photo op and everything. You shake your hand and smile and all that, and whatnot, give a little nice speech and everything. But again, we don't think about things mathematically a lot of times, and we're not looking at, okay, who's benefiting from this, because that's why the problem is going to persist. You know, we gotta start thinking. But again, like doing a lot of mathematics helps to shape how you think and how you view things and how you view a lot of situations. So you just naturally and organically are gonna start like just looking at stuff like that. Like, wait a minute, like who's benefiting from this? You know, because then once you look at it like that, then you know things start to go differently for you. You know.
Right. You know, Sister Vera, she's an educator out in the city of Baltimore.
Mhm.
And she has said that she finally broke the code of math after all these years, you know, with her second graders. But, you know, me speaking for myself, I always had trouble with math in school, but I was great at everything else. Right. So I ended up conning a teacher so I could pass the class. Either you're going to do it my way, I'm going to rat you out. So that was my tactic back then. But then I look at things today, you know, how life evolves. Right now, you know, I invest or whatever. So math is part of my everyday life, my everyday thing. And I never looked at it that way before until you actually said that. My grandson, he absolutely loves math, hate everything else, but loves math, you know. So, and again, like even when he was a baby, taking him outside and he would play in the dirt and he liked bugs. So how many of those, what you call them, cicadas you got over there as opposed to these over here, making it a part of everyday life. So I guess that's how he grew into a love of math, but he hated everything else. So I guess he didn't pay attention to the rest of the stuff I was saying. But
Yeah.
I find that very interesting that a lot of Black boys in particular love math as young boys.
Well, I think it's something in like the school system, like the structure, like a lot of these neo-colonial schools, it kind of like, you know, it takes that out of you sometimes, you know. And then you got to have adequate teachers. You got to have adequate teachers that really know what they're doing. They have a strong grasp on the conceptual parts of the mathematics, the basic math, the arithmetic. And you also got to have, you know, teachers that really care about their students and understand their students' background so they can make it relevant, you know. Just it's a lot of factors that go into it. I mean, I've, you know, since I've been a teacher in Philly, you know, I've encountered like students in high school that would reflect on their middle school experience and say like, yo, like for a whole year, we didn't really have no math teacher. We just had a bunch of substitutes that would come in, you know, like somebody being for a week, another person being for another week. And these are just random people that didn't have a math background. So it's not like they was really learning math. You know, for like, so you talk about a whole 7th grade year, you didn't learn math. And like, that's so critical. Like those middle school years, the mathematics development. So that's why a lot of people, you know, they basically just, you know, check out by the time they get to high school, you know, so because they don't have a foundation. Because like, again, math is so cumulative, right? Because oftentimes we might look at the students taking the standardized test in the 10th grade and they do poorly in the 10th grade. And then it's like, you wonder why. You think it's an issue with 10th grade. Like, nah, that issue, that started when they was in 3rd grade. It started when they was in 2nd grade. And it's just been, you know, compounded, you know, over time. And, you know, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to say real quick, the trajectory for most school children in this country, and I forget his name right now. He's an educator from, I believe, Indiana, is in the 4th grade. That's when they start the jail rates and who's going to be something here and there, and the probabilities of all of that. He wrote a book I read some years ago, Haku Djibouti or something like that. I don't remember his name right now. But there you go. Thank you, Brother Tad. That's all I wanted to say, Brother Akil.
Yeah, countering the conspiracy to destroy Black boys. He talks about the 4th grade failure syndrome.
Yeah,
he talks about that. But I think his work is also just another reminder and another motivator, you know, even though, and a lot of people have echoed what he has said throughout the years, that we as a community, you know, mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts, grandparents, you know, brothers on the corner, sisters on the corner, we got to start teaching our own children math. And we really got to take it into our own hands. And I have an ambitious goal that for Black people, like kind of like how the Panthers had a 10-point plan pending revolution, right? So my plan is up until we get to the point where we have a vast network of African-centered independent schools for all our children, which might take years, literally tens of years, hundreds of years, whatever. We got to be able to educate ourselves so that way we can teach our own children these things. And then when they go to school, if they got to go to school, because people still got to go to work, we got to, put food on the table and provide for food, clothing, and shelter. So our children need to go to school during the day. School should just be a space for practice. It's got to be a space for practice. Like math class has to be like recess. And what I mean by that is like, young brothers like to come to school to go to recess so they can show off their skills. They show off their skills at recess in basketball, football, whatever. Playing tag, freeze tag, whatever, but they learn those skills in the community and at home. They didn't go to school to learn those skills. They learned them in the community. They come to school just to show off, right? Just like with sports, playing for, an organized sports team, basketball team for the school, football team for the school or whatever. Math got to be the same way. And they got to be able, and not just the brothers, the girls too, got to be able to walk into a math class with that same level of confidence. Like the brothers be like, bro, I'm about to cook you. Like, about to drop 20 on you. Like, we got to get to the point where our young brothers are like walk into a math class and feel the same way. Instead of feeling that anxiety and that angst, which leads to them being disruptive. It's like, yo, I'm not good at math, but watch this. I'm about to be good at disrupting this class. I'm about to be good at cracking jokes while the teacher's trying to teach, right? So we got to get them to be like, nah, like, we about to solve these equations. We about to add these fractions, multiply these fractions, reduce these fractions, round these numbers, do all this type of stuff. They got to have that feeling, but we got to be able to do that though. We got to be able to like develop that like in the household or like riding in the car, and this is why I create the resources that I've created. The YouTube channel I mentioned is because it's easy to say, yeah, Black people got to start doing this, that, and the third. People always tell us what we got to start doing. But a lot of times the people that are saying this stuff, a lot of times it's really just condescension, and it's really not meant for, it's not constructive criticism, and they're not offering any or providing any resources through which we can develop the ability to do these things that they're claiming that we should be doing.
So outside of your online resources, do you have paper resources, your YouTube channel? Do you have other online tools that, parents or, providers can use to help build these skills in the young adults? And also, what are 3 points that you would give as a takeaway for building math and telling children why building math is so crucial, especially when they're like in first grade, for kindergarten, like those type of things? Because, I go into these educational settings and it's always interesting how I see some educators look so frustrated in providing information to the little people. And if you seem frustrated, then guess what? The person. So just 3 things that I could take away and like build someone else's confidence in providing information to the little people.
So to your first question, I like that question. To your first question in terms of other resources. So there's a book that I published too back in 2023. And this is a resource guide for parents. So what I do in this book is, since I'm immersed in math, like I do math all day long, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I constantly see and think of different potential like math problems and ways that we can practice math. When I'm driving on the highway, I see a sign. I'm like, okay, yeah, if everybody did that every time they rode past this, think about how much greater we would be at the mathematically and whatnot. So then when the children get to school, if they were practicing this with their parents or their uncles or aunts or whoever, when they get to school, then they wouldn't be as overwhelmed and feel the anxiety kick in, because they're like, nah, I'm already familiar with this. Like this new topic that you're about to introduce, Miss or Mr. So-and-so, like, yeah, we do this in the house. Like, again, math class being like recess, right? We come to school just to practice, right? So the book is called How to Use All This Math, Volume 1. It's available on Amazon right now. And in that, I give like 20 examples of just everyday activities that can be converted into math lessons that, any parent, any adult, can understand. And I break it down like, okay, you can do this. This is how you convert the temperature in your car from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. And what we got to think about is like, just like with sports training, it's like a lot of it is repetition. It's repetition. That's how you get good at something. Anything you do every day, if as long as you're doing it correctly, you're gonna become great at it, but you got to be consistent. So you think like every day your child gets in the car and you say like, okay, the instrument panel, the display says, the temperature, but the temperature is in Fahrenheit. You say, convert that to Celsius for me. Or you might switch it around. You might change your settings, have your temperature displayed in Celsius. Say, yo, convert that to Fahrenheit for me, right? Think about your children in the car, but you're doing that every single day. They're developing their math skills, their computation skills, they're practicing mental math. They're just getting into the mindset of just using math on a regular basis. A lot of children don't really do math, like a lot of times. Like they'll do it in school for that 45 minutes, that 50 minutes, maybe if they're on a block schedule, they're doing it for 90 minutes. But the downside to the block schedule is you're not going to math class every day. You got your A days and B days. You go to math Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Then the next week you go on Tuesday and Thursday. So that's another, that could be the situation. So we got to figure out. So I want for our people to figure out ways to be able to practice math on a regular basis, just in the house, just having conversations. So that's one resource. And when you ask about takeaways, what I would say is one of the best things we could do for our children is just one thing definitely is develop our own confidence and math esteem, as they call it, or change our math identity, because a lot of the discouragement and a lot of the negative disposition a lot of our children have for math, they inherited it from their parents. Because a lot of times our parents do things and we don't even realize the impact. Like child comes home with the math homework, they ask their parent, first thing their parent says, don't come over here with that. I don't know how to do that. I ain't no good at that. Right. That's discouraging. And then what happens is like, so mentally, you got to think about it, because a lot of parents, they work very hard to create a certain living condition for their children. Mm-hmm. So the child's looking at it like, oh, well, damn, like my mom is not really good at math. My dad is not good at math, but this house seems kind of comfortable. I get the Jordans when they come out. I got my PS4, my PS5. We living comfortable in here. My parents got cars. So then they arrive at that conclusion that, oh, maybe we don't need math, because look at they're not good at math, but look at all this. This is how I'm still able to live. So, and again, that might be a thing of, well, in the era when your parents came up, and children may not be able to process all this, and they may not understand the different, vicissitudes of the situation. Like in the era when they came up, your parent might have been able to secure a certain job doing a certain thing without having a strong math background, or without having a college degree, So, but as a child, I might not have that opportunity 15 years from now when I get into my 20s. Children don't understand it. They just looking around. I'm like, damn, like, yeah, why do I need math? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the conclusion that they may draw. So one of the best things that we can do, I think, is to develop our own confidence and our own ability in mathematics, and kind of like stand up to that bully. Because a lot of us, as children, we got bullied by math. We let the bully win. We never stood up to him. We just kept taking the long way home. And at some point, that's got to stop, because now we got kids now. We got nieces and nephews and grandparents and grandchildren, that need our help. So we got to stand up to the bully now. Plus you're older. Yeah, you're older now, and your brain functions differently. Your frontal lobe is developed. So it's not going to be the same experience as you had when you was 10 years old or 12 years old or 8 years old. It's going to be different now. Like now you 35, you 40, it's going to make more sense. Plus you lived life. You've lived life now. So now you got, and like I said, like we use math a lot of times without haven't realized it. So, as adults, we're able to like make connections, and our brain like picks up on the different types of equations and formulas and whatnot. You're like, oh, okay. So when you're doing this, that's just like when I got to pay my bill for this over here. Or when they say, okay, they're going to, I'm going shopping and this is on sale, a discount like 35%. Oh, that's what they mean when they say that, blah, yada, yada, yada. So we got to keep that in mind too. That's one thing we definitely can do. You said 3 things though, 3 takeaways, like dealing with like the young people. Just showed, well, we got to have conversation. I mean, it ties into like the political education, because if we're providing political education to our children, we have to let them see that, mathematics is part of your political education, because mathematics is really, like I alluded to earlier, it's about problem solving, right? It's deeper than the formulas and the equations and the X's and the Y's and the plus signs and minus signs. It's about problem solving. And the skills you develop while you're learning mathematics enable you to solve problems. And we will inevitably have problems, and not only to solve the problems, but to identify problems. A lot of us are unable to identify problems. We don't have that skill. And I'm sure some of us have been in situations and in environments where you sitting around and you see some problems and you're like, everybody just around here chilling. Like, why is everybody chilling? Like, they don't see what's about to happen. Like, I'm not the only one. Like, they don't get it, right? They don't get it. Because a lot of people aren't able to identify problems, not able to see problems. So that what they're doing, what they're supposed to be doing is kindergartners, is first graders, is, what have you, whatever level and grade is, it enables them to identify problems and then be able to solve problems. And right along the lines of that is critical thinking. Because when you're doing math problems, you're constantly thinking critically. You got to think critically in order to solve math problems and to understand, like, which method should I use, especially if you're breaking down word problems. And the sad thing about, in terms of word problems is when people say, like, when am I going to use this stuff? Why do I need to learn this? What am I needed for? Like,
every day.
In there, it's in the word problems. It's in the word problems, but in a lot of classrooms, we never get to the word problems, or the teachers will skip the word problems. That's the applications, and even if the word problems in the textbook that the school is using are culturally irrelevant, the framework is important. It's the framing, just like, how sometimes we got to read the books by the white authors. We got to read the books that promote the white culture. We got to read that because, there's a benefit to that too, because you got to study your enemy, right? You got to know what's going on. You got to know what they're about to do. Like, I remember, I used to think, like, we shouldn't read Beowulf, and I was like, nah, we do need to read Beowulf because that's their cultural practice, right? It tells a lot. A group of people expose a lot about themselves by who their heroes are. And then it lets you know, okay, this is how they're going to move. This is what they aspire to. This is what they love. This is what they value, right? So I need to know that. I need to know how y'all get down, right? The problem a lot of us run into is that when we're studying, like, European culture or other cultures, we make the mistake of trying to assimilate into it and trying to become that, instead of just looking at it more like, objectively, like, okay, so this is what y'all doing. Okay, cool. We want to, like, become an honorary, like what they say, like a Afro-Saxon or a Negro-Pean. Like, we want to do that, right? That's when you get jammed up. But even like with a lot of, again, back to the critical thinking, with a lot of the, political awareness, a lot of the mathematical principles help you to see the political situation and the political science. It helps to make it real plain, because I'm constantly, like, looking at, situations, and I see, oh, this is just like this formula, or this is just like that. Like, oh, you solve this type of equation. Okay, yeah. So it's got to add up. Like, this doesn't add up. This doesn't balance. How does this even work? So all these types of things. So that's another reason. Oh yeah, and shout out to Sister Vera. You said she teaches in Baltimore. I grew up in Baltimore. I went to Roland Park, went to Poly, went to the quote unquote good schools, where they teach us to be the good Negroes that are going to be the protectors of white power. I went to
kind of like Philip Scholar here. When they came to my mother, she was like, "Get the hell away from my door." But that's another story. But
yeah, but I mean, I met some solid, brothers and sisters, going to them schools. But I think it's important to, again, it's important that if you can get into them institutions, and if your children are culturally grounded, then it's not really as much of a problem, because you're gonna have the cultural violence. You're gonna learn high level math, and you're gonna get exposed to a lot of different programs and whatnot. But the thing is like, but you got to be culturally grounded, or else you can get caught up, sucked into that assimilation trap, because that's what the people that that developed those institutions, that was their goal for us. That's why they wanted us to come there, so they could train us to do their bidding. But as long as you just get in there and you're like, all right, I'm just here to learn. I'm not here to, become one of y'all, or like to, achieve your ends, but you gotta have that. And it just makes sense. It makes sense. But again, that takes you back to the mathematics. Like, it makes sense that you would not want to do that, or to look out for that. Oh, Sister Vera is asking, 1997, I graduated from Poly in 1997. Yeah, she was asking in the chat.
Yeah.
Brother Akil,
a lot of adults who suffer with math as well.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who have a little issues or what have you, or you have children in your home, or the link is in the chat for Brother Akil's YouTube channel, so you can check out many, many videos on the channel to help you out. I think Sister Vera said, yeah, she started watching your videos from the last time
Nice.
you were on. Go ahead, Brother Black. Sorry.
What do you think of Terrence Howard and his theories, or his positions on some of the things he says about mathematics?
I think that I think a few things. One thing is, like, I can appreciate him like offering his theories because it challenges us to think, mathematically. Because a lot of mathematical advancements have come from people challenging, the previous ideas that were accepted as fact and whatnot. His most famous clip, I think, is the one where he's talking about he starts off with an incorrect definition of multiplication. Right. So a lot of what he says after that is problematic for me, because he's talking to the white boy on the podcast, and he says, well, what's the definition? What's multiplication? What does multiply mean? It means to grow and get larger. I'm like, we got to stop right there. That's not the definition of multiplication. That can happen when you multiply. If you're multiplying two whole numbers or two integers, right, you can end up with a larger value. What happens when you multiply, a whole number by a decimal? Like, think about when we go shopping. If something is 20% off, how do you calculate that? Right? Something was $40 and it's 20% off. Now you're doing 40 times 0.2. Convert the percentage to a decimal, 40 times 0.2. You don't end up with a number bigger than 40, but we just multiply, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The technical definition of multiplication is a form of repeated addition. What you're trying to find is a total when you have a certain number of objects, of equal size objects, or equal size groups multiplied by a certain number of objects. That's what multiplication is. Like, that's the fundamental definition of it. So therefore, at times you will expand. I think he tried to take the connotation of a term and apply it in a mathematical situation, which doesn't necessarily work. And then, but what happens is, it's kind of like the situation of, once you found you base your argument on that premise, but it's a false premise. Now almost everything he says after that is fruit of a poisonous tree. So now you gotta call it into question, because like your definition of multiplication is problematic. Now there might have been some other things he was saying that are worthy of investigation. I never want to just like, I've seen a lot of people online just like calling them names and whatnot, but I never want to get into that on the name calling. I'd rather just really like examine like what he's saying, because like he might be on to something. I think sometimes we miss out when we just like dismiss people because it offends our sensibilities, and what I'm saying, we experience the cognitive dissonance, and it's like, oh, he's saying something I never heard before. I didn't grow up learning that, right? So I'm like, but and the thing is like, we should scrutinize things. We should scrutinize what he's saying. It's like, all right, well, you want to come with that theory, like let's have it. You know what I'm saying? But now you're gonna get this work now, because what a lot of people do is they just like start name calling, they dismiss it. I'm like, nah, like let's because I'm when you believe in something, and something has value, it should be able to stand up to scrutiny. So like if somebody like I believe in Pan-Africanism, right? So if somebody wants to challenge Pan-Africanism, I'm like, cool, let's have a conversation, right? Because I would never try to silence somebody, right? Because I believe it can stand up to scrutiny, right? So it's like that. Like math, I look at math the same way. You know what I mean? So yeah, I guess that's what I. And plus, he's an actor. You know what I'm saying? He's a highly paid actor, so that's part of it too. But I mean, I'm glad that he offered what he did, because it could have some positive outcomes. The problem I saw in it, though, and the concern I have is that, and I saw a lot of this in terms of the comments on Instagram and on Facebook come from some people like in the peanut gallery and whatnot, is that if he's challenging the validity of mathematics as a discipline in and of itself, then again, what that does, it gives more, I guess, ammunition to people that feel like math is irrelevant and that they shouldn't learn it. Because then it's like the people that's like, didn't have a good experience with math in school, all they're gonna do is just say, look, Terrence Howard said, the math don't make sense anyway. So yeah, so why do we need this? And then adults are repeating this without having examined it. They haven't examined it. They haven't really tried to scrutinize what he's saying, because a lot of them don't know enough mathematics foundationally to do that
Yeah.
anyway,
I
right?
think my brother Tad touched on that on what you're saying, not in the same vein, but when we were talking about getting bits of information versus researching what the information actually means, which would equate to, in my opinion, propaganda.
Yeah,
Right.
and children hear this, and children are hearing this, and then again, back to the children. They in school, they sitting in 5th grade, and 6th grade, 7th grade. They uncomfortable. They not doing well in the math class, and then as soon as they get to read, like, look, they said that the math don't make sense anyway. They say, yeah, well, how come when you multiply, you're supposed to get a bigger number? Nah, bro, that's not the. He gave you the wrong definition for multiplication. He gave you the wrong definition, so that's not a justification to just say F all this. No, that's not. No, stop right there. No, that's not. But as a teacher, as a teacher in the classroom, you got to know that. You got to know how to communicate with your students effectively. A lot of teachers aren't able to do that.
Agree with that because if you don't have someone to challenge, these kind of comments, people will fly with it. Like you said, people don't know, so they'll fly with it and let it go.
Because they
and
want
it's
to.
very, very important that we do challenge and do confront.
Yeah, and it reminds me of a quote from the late Dr. Bobby Wright. He said one of the many brilliant things that brother said. He said that the sickest pathology is believing in something just because you want it to be true.
Facts. Mm-hmm.
Like it becomes very problematic, and that's when you get a lot of the confirmation bias that we see all the time, and just dangerous things happen. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to say too is I'm on a mission now. I would call it a mission to increase the number of fathers that are, learning math and embracing the math. And like I alluded to earlier, like I stated earlier, not alluded to, but stated, like we got to stand up to the bully. Because when I was thinking about this very recently, when we think about fatherhood and we think about manhood, just manhood in general, and men being the providers and protectors of the family and of the community and whatnot. A lot of times our children become very emotional about math, and it becomes very frustrating for our children. So your child might be in the house trying to do some math homework, and they sitting at the table almost in tears. Sometimes they might be in tears. And when we think about it, like as a father, you want to protect your child from feeling that way, right? The best way for you to prevent that, or at least help them through that process of dealing with those emotions and that experience, and what we as educators call productive struggle, is for you to know it yourself. You got to know it yourself so that you can sit down with them and be like, bro, I got you. Or sis, I got you. Right? Let's work through these problems. But if you don't know the algebra as a father, you can't do that. Right? I mean, if you got certain financial resources, you might be able to go out and get a tutor, right? Like me or my son, right? Or anybody else that tutors, you might be able to get a tutor. But a lot of times, I mean, just think about how powerful it would be as fathers if we could like protect our children from that math anxiety, but you got to learn it and you got to know it. And what I'm trying to do now is really kind of like add academic and educational support to the common definition of manhood and fatherhood. Because the typical person on the street, when they think of, okay, what's my responsibility as a dad? A lot of times we don't think about academic support. We don't think about educational support. A lot of us leave that up to the mothers. And that's a problem. That's really a problem. I think the fathers got to do a lot more, right? And that's not to say that the mothers got to do less. I think the mothers should keep doing what they're doing, but the fathers got to start doing a whole lot more, especially when you're in these co-parenting formations. Mm-hmm. In the co-parenting formation, y'all not even in the same household. So if you the father and you're not the education parent, you got to become the education parent, because when your child goes to your house, it's like they know, oh, it's playtime over here, right? So then it's like, all right, well, I'm spending this week with my dad and the next week with my mom. Oh, when I'm with my mom, if I got a mom that's on it, okay, all my homework gets done that week when I'm with mom. Next week, ain't no homework getting done. And then the teacher's a little confused, like, hey, what's going on? Like, because I don't know how to do that. I can't help him with that. Or I got other things going on that's more important. It can't be nothing more important, right? That's the academic support has to be something that brothers got to start finding very important. Now, and I will admit, I speak from a space of privilege. Like I'm a whole educator, right? I mean, when it comes to math, My children always know they can come to me. They're going to get the support, get the help that they need. Everybody doesn't have that background that I have. But again, back to the resources. This is why I created the resources, because I'm not just trying to sit back here and just talk shit about what we should be doing. I'm like, nah, I'm giving you the resource so you can do what I do, right? I'm not just going to tell you to like, nah, this is what you got to do. Go figure that out. No, I'm giving you the resource. I'm like spoon feeding it to you, basically. It's on YouTube. It's free as long as you got Wi-Fi, right? The book, you got to pay for the book, but the book is much more valuable than the $34.95 you're going to spend on it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but as fathers, like that's a mission that I'm on, to motivate more fathers and really kind of like add that to the definition, to our generally accepted definition of not only manhood, but not only fatherhood, but manhood. Like being able to like help our young people with their academics, you know, because we're already role models. And like how important would it be, how impactful would it be if, you know, you could sit down like a typical brother on the corner that, you know, has respect in the community or whatnot, or you know, he knows he can help the young brothers, you know, with their jump shot, help them throw a tight spiral or whatnot, you know, it helps with the sports and whatnot. Or if he can also sit down like young and come here, let me help you with this trigonometry real quick. I got you. You know, let me help you with this calculus. Like that's the world I'm trying to create. I'm trying to help create that, right? And that's why the resources are there.
That's a great world to see. You know, I'm sorry, Brother Tad.
No, and I was gonna say we will have it. And as you said that, it just reminded me of times when my father used to come visit me and my brother, and he'd be like, "Yo, where your books at? Open your book, see your homework." Won't. And you know, well, well, come on, let's finish it. Because you know, sometimes you got 10 questions, you probably did like 6. You know what I'm saying? Try to get the answers from your homeboy in class tomorrow before class start, go to the lunchroom. But to your point, my pops used to come through and he want to see books, you know, and that's one of the reasons why he and I are still so tight to this day, you know, because love just doesn't show up in material things. It shows up in having a concern for my well-being and education. Like you're saying, that's how I know what you're doing. Well, it'll resonate with a lot of other brothers, with a lot of other fathers, you know, especially when we talk about now the new thing is financial literacy and, you know, generational wealth, but it ain't gonna last long if you don't know how to count them beans. If you don't know how to count your money, it's gonna be gone.
That's the math. Again, speaking of that, the math is the foundation of that too. Like we got to figure out, people got to understand the algebra, you know, how to calculate the compound interest, and you know how to calculate the ROI and the return on investment, and all these types of things.
And the taxes.
Yeah, the taxes, all of that. Like, because if you don't understand the math behind it, if you don't understand the arithmetic and the you know, the algebra and whatnot, then financial literacy just be in the courses or the classes or the seminars that people do, it's really just, you will end up just being a person that just like to sit there and just listen to other folks talk about the money that they made, right?
Or for you, because they're gonna charge you too.
Yeah, when it comes time to roll your sleeves up and actually do what they talking about, you're gonna have to do some math. You're gonna have to, right?
Always.
But the part of the problem is people had those negative experiences when they're in school. So a lot of things that people do is a way to kind of try to evade and circumvent doing math, evade and circumvent certain types of like academic work and educational work. And at some point, like I keep saying, you got to stand up to the bully. You just got to, at some point, you got to stand up to the bully. You got to punch him in his mouth. Like, look, nah, I'm not giving you my lunch money. What we about to do? Like,
I love it, brother. I love it. You know, like I said before, we've been following you and, you know, sharing the information for quite a while now, since you first been, you know, rocking with us. And I just love it. I just love it. And I see it. You know, I would advise those of you who are viewing or listening or want to play Black later to, you know, click that link in the chat and, you know, start learning yourself. Like Sister Vera said, she didn't learn until she was an adult. You know, but now she don't have that fear anymore. She actually loves math. Right. So again, just things that you can learn for yourselves, like he says, so you can help your children. Visit his YouTube channel, visit his Instagram channel. And if you have any questions, just shoot them over to him and He'll guide you on, where you need to go and how you need to fit in. Because as you said, in the home is very, very important how you establish things. One of the reasons why I'm so into history and politics is because it was a requirement in our home as children. So my stepfather didn't bring home one newspaper, he brought home 8 newspapers. So we had to read all of them. And we had to have conversations at the dinner table about society and everything that we read. So from early age, we were all avid readers. We can articulate ourselves. We understood the political machine and how it operated as children because it was a requirement in our home. So I agree with what you said. I employ all of y'all, all of us, to stand up to the bully. That's what he said. Stand up to the bully.
Stand up to the bully.
When I was at high school, I wouldn't stand up to the bully. Like I said, I blackmailed my math teacher. Yes, I did. If I ever see Miss Henry again, you already know what it is. Because I can still tell on you and you can still get in trouble in this day and time. But that's how I just was at the right place at the right time to see the right thing. But as I grew in life, you get older, and then I moved to college and I had to start with remedial math. I thought I was getting away, but when I got to college, I had to start remedial math.
Yeah.
So I didn't know it, throughout high school because blackmail Miss Henry to get it. So.
Yeah. And we want to prevent that. We want to prevent like the sisters and brothers from having to take the remedial math because the remedial math is a hustle because you have to take those class. If you place into those classes, you have to take them, but they don't count towards your degree. But you can't get to the math classes that do count towards your degree until you pass those classes successfully. It's a prerequisite. So you end up losing money from, because a lot of time, and here's another thing I want to throw out there too. Like we got a lot of young brothers and sisters be thinking like certain teachers are cool because they let them slide. And they're not going to understand. Like one thing you understand when you study economics is that there's no such thing as a free lunch, and even the foundation of economics is mathematics too. There's no free lunch. It's always you're going to have to pay some price, right? So like, for the young people that might be watching this, like, yo, you think you got that teacher, he cool, she cool, they just let you slide, don't hold you accountable, they're going to pass you regardless. You might end up in that, that college freshman on that summer program. You got to take that placement test. You fail that placement test, get every question wrong. And now you're in a remedial class, now you paying, right? You thought the lunch was free, but no, now you paying now. You paying for that lunch, Another thing I wanted to mention is this documentary that I want to promote to everybody. I'm featured in it actually for a brief period. It's called The Journeys of Black Mathematicians. And it really, and again, like to my point that, we need to show young people that Black people do math and, we do earn PhDs in math and we do teach math and we do excel in math. It was playing at different times and in different networks and different markets on PBS during this month, since it was Black History Month. I'm not sure what the status of it is going to be after Black History Month. But it's called Journeys of Black Mathematicians. It's actually 2 parts. And it chronicles like a history of a lot of there go right there. Black mathematicians that, were educated in a lot of HBCUs throughout the country and either still teach or have been teaching at schools throughout the country. And, it's very important to see. I also want to caution, anybody watching to make sure they don't, fall for the trap of the whole, being the Black first. Because that's a game that our enemies will play on us, talking about, highlighting us for being the first Black to do this, the first Black to do that. It becomes dangerous when you talk about mathematics. And I say that because they're talking about the first to do it within the confines of the United States, right? Right. So what that means is that, it's like a subtle thing they try to do, right? If you don't catch on to it, right? It's trying to, create this idea that like, oh, y'all wasn't doing math until y'all after the Mayafa, till y'all came over. So it's almost as if we should be grateful for it, right? It's like, oh, y'all brought us over here and started teaching us math. How, wow, good old white man teaching us math. We got over here.
Don't never let anybody say nothing like that, bro, because I know that mathematics comes from the word, and I mentioned this to you the last time you was on the show 2 years ago. Mathematics, it comes from supreme ma'at or supreme mathematics. So we ain't got to go there with that, brother. I would love. I don't know if you. I'm sure you're aware of them, but I would love if you could fuse what you're doing with Afrotech. Do you have any contacts, or have you fused your way into like maybe teaching some of these parents that go to Afrotech how to teach their kids math if their kids isn't, following that type of trajectory?
I'm not as familiar with Afrotech. I need to like read. Is that an organization or is it like a
Yeah.
online school?
It's a whole bunch of black people that are into tech, and there's a lot more of us doing that than we think.
Yeah.
If you're not in that, they call themselves geeks and nerds.
You can follow them on Gram, Afrotech.
Yeah, it's very popular, brother. It's out there. If you look for it, you'll find it easily. You'll be good in that, brother.
I'll send it to you, brother Akil.
Send it to me. Okay, I appreciate that.
Let's go, brother. Akil, this is going to be the last thing I'm going to say to you tonight because I know we're way over time right now. Are you aware of Sister Filet in your city?
Yeah, I know Empress Filet. She one of the original organizers of the Million Women March back in the day. Yeah. Okay, all right. She's been putting messages in the chat, so hopefully y'all hook up and start some new stuff with her as well. So. Yeah, definitely.
Well, family, we've come to the end of our program, so we're gonna wrap this up. We got to get Brother Akil back on here. Brother Akil, your final thoughts and comments, and words you want to leave with our people, where they can follow you, all that info.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely go to YouTube, go to All This Math on YouTube. Please subscribe. Look at some of the videos, like the videos, share the videos. Sit down with your children when they come home with the math homework and find a video in the playlist. My content is organized in different playlists, right? I don't organize it by grade levels because, different topics could be in different grades depending on like what school district, you're in or whatnot. But yeah, YouTube, All This Math, Instagram, All This Math, Facebook, All This Math. I haven't really, used TikTok a lot, but I know I need to. So I will be on TikTok more later as the year progresses on. Final words, I just want to reiterate that, stand up to the bully, learn it for yourself. Learn it for yourself. One of the best things you could do is be able to teach your children, and because we understand that we need to be the primary educators of our children. And a lot of the problems that our children experience in the schools that we don't control could be alleviated if we were the primary educators, because then we don't need to be as vulnerable. Because then, the racist teacher is not as relevant because it's like, I'm just here for practice, right? You know what I'm saying? Because like learning is a very vulnerable activity. And, you probably don't want to be vulnerable to somebody that hates you, doesn't respect your humanity, that's racist towards you, but if I'm not really trying to learn from you per se, I'm really just here to practice because, my old heads already taught me this, but I'm just here to, develop my skills or move ahead. That's what I'm really here for. So, but that's going to require parents to find the time, because I know a lot of people are busy. People work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. People are tired. People got social lives and all that. But we just got to reprioritize some things. We got to reprioritize some things in order to really get this done and really start to take more responsibility for our children's education. And one of the things that I will say is that this new leadership that's in office now is gonna press us and make us make some moves, right? The Democratic leadership tends to make us feel, right, even if they're doing a lot of similar things to the Republicans, but they're going to make us feel like we got time to chill. The one benefit I will say of the Republicans being in office, and I'm not a fan of them, but I look at the consequences, and I can appreciate certain consequences. It's going to make a lot of our people feel uncomfortable. So, so then when I say, well, we need to start, moving toward becoming the primary educators for our children, it starts to make more sense to a lot of people. Because now they're like, yeah, well, Trump's doing this and Trump's doing that. We don't know. He might sign an executive order saying, they can't teach math in inner city schools no more. Like, then what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you can't put nothing past this guy. So again, all the more reason for us to step up, start making moves, start doing whatever we got to do. And you might not know how to do it. That's another thing. A lot of times we get frozen by uncertainty and, not knowing how to perfectly do something. It don't matter. Like a lot of the teachers that are in the schools, they don't know what they're doing neither a lot of times. Like a lot of times they just winging it. So you as a parent, Just figure it out. You just gotta figure it out. You're gonna get better with time. So don't let that hinder you, like thinking like, oh, I'm not a teacher, I don't have a degree, I don't have this and that. You don't need that. It would be nice if you had it, but you don't need it. You just need to have a concern, a motivation, some intellectual curiosity, and a willingness to go find the resources, such as the All This Math YouTube channel, How to Use All This Math Volume 1. Volume 2 should be out later this year. But there are resources available, a lot of resources. We just got to go find the resources. And that's how we get started. Once we get started, then things will change, because, we got to take education. And like I said earlier, especially the brothers, we can't just leave that to the mothers. Your baby mom or whoever, oh, she going to take care. No, stop doing that. Stop doing that. You gotta take a stand. You gotta be there in the schools. The teachers got to know you, the principal, the vice principals, everybody got to know you, the deans, the dean of climate and culture, all that. You got to, like I used to tell my students all the time, make sure your people come to back to school night. Make sure they come to the report card conferences, because teachers generally will treat children differently when they know it's somebody that cares about them, that shows up and they can see their face, right? The kids where like don't nobody never come, people don't show up, people don't come, you're gonna get treated differently a lot of times, a lot of times by a lot of teachers, and it happens all the time. So I would definitely tell them that, like, listen, have your people show up, because you will get treated differently, treated in a better way. They know a lot of times these teachers that don't really respect and have any love for Black children, they know who to play with. They know who to play with, and they tend to not play with the kids whose parents are very present.
Agreed. Well, Brother Akil, thank you for joining us. And we got to have you back on again, because I have questions and I ain't get the answer. So, and I love the way how you are, pushing a narrative that we really have to confront the fear of mathematics, because it is a part of everyday life. Everything you do is mathematics. Even when you wash your tail, you better wash both arms and underarms, and you know what I mean? So it's a part of everyday life. Some people miss that lesson, but that's another story. Nutshell. Sucker polite. But anyway, he was the king of must.
That's exactly where my mind was going.
We don't care. We tell the truth over here. We don't care. Don't see me if you got a problem. Send one of your wives. Come see. Anyway, Brother Akil, thank you. I truly appreciate it. All of the information is in the chat. For those of you who want more, you can reach out to All This Math. That's All This Math on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you can't, then you can reach out to us and we'll forward your questions or comments over to Brother Akil, and then he will reach out to you. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. Philly in the building, family.
Thank you.
Yes, Brother Blacksmith. Your final thoughts and comments. Let's get the people up out of here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Brother Akil. I think I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna dub you the philosophical mathematician, if you will. And if you don't like the title, then I won't say it again. But thank you, man. That was a beautiful presentation, my brother. Sister Keisha, I wanted to just go back real quick on something you said earlier in regards to Fela Kuti and the comparison to FBA music. One thing that people have to know out there, and this is not an opinion thing, this is a fact because he said it himself. Fela Kuti based his music on the one after he experienced, like Kwame Nkrumah with seeing the struggle on James Brown music. So if you want to say Afrobeats is a creation of African American music, we can say that indirectly, directly, however you want to take it, as a result of that. And he said that himself. I've watched numerous documentaries on his life. I've heard him say with his own mouth on film and so on and so, not in person, of course, but so for those of y'all out there, and that it goes into the math equation again, because James Brown was the first musician that based his music of dropping on the one as opposed to on the 3 or the 4, and then coming back to the loop. So that's all I wanted to say as far as that was concerned. We way over time, so I'm not going to take too much time. I just want to say thank y'all. This is the last presentation we're going to do in Black History Month in February of 2025. And with that said, much love, much peace, and see y'all again on the bridge next week. And we out.
Sister Marcia. Your final closing comments.
Well, brother Akil, I want to say thank you so much. I can look forward to reaching out to you privately. I have some ideas in my head as you talk about how you want to prophesize over the community. So, and establish rhythms for our community and the men of the community so that they can also include in their providing script the providing of math skills, even to the basic, to the more complicated. However it is, it's about being confident in reaching the little people when we're doing any subject. With that said, I want to wish everyone a really great week ahead. Please don't fall for a lot of the shenanigans that's going on. There's a lot. Don't participate. Do what you got to do, because when you call out people to participate for you, they don't show up. So don't show up for them. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to do it because we got a solidarity. Where were they on Black Solidarity Day? That's the only thing I have to say to us. Like, when you need people, they're not there for you. So you don't be there when they're not. With that said, make time flourish, or may it flourish. Whatever it is, it's going to flourish on your behalf as long as you stay strong. Peace.
Well, family, thank you for joining us again. This has been another informative program as well as entertaining. Hopefully you were inspired by something you heard here today. It's your turn to go out and inspire others. Don't forget, every Sunday, 2 p.m., OG Wisdom on YouTube Live. Every Sunday at 2 p.m. But we will be going a little longer than an hour, and we'll be doing more days. Thank you for rocking out with us. Thank you for tuning in to Thorough Black Talk. Thank our brother Akil Parker. Thank you for everybody on the playback. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true, and remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, there's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
Thank you for coming and joining and rocking out with us right here on the Brooklyn Bridge. Tell somebody to tell somebody. This is where it goes down. Every Thursday. And remember, family, true courage is knowing how to suffer. The battlefield is where you stand. We out, y'all. Good night.
On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight. Thorough black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair. From Brother Tad to Sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcy brings the heat, Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Thursday nights the world will see Black Power Media on a spree. Facebook, YouTube all aligned, free from every bind. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly